Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin-Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.
I would like to call to order the meeting of the Neenah City Council for Wednesday, February 17th, 2021. Due to the public health emergency caused by COVID, this meeting is occurring at virtual locations that are accessed by the below link or a conference call. Committee members and the public have access to the link or the conference call to this meeting. The City Hall chambers is also open for people, and we do have two guests tonight for the public hearing. So it's been properly noticed. So I'll declare the meeting open. First item of business is the roll call. Stephanie will call the roll call, please.
Alderperson Boyette.
Here.
Bates.
Here.
Lang.
Here.
Lundrum.
Here.
Orchard.
Here.
Steele. I didn't see Alderman Steele yet. Alderperson Erickson.
Alderman Steele sent Todd and I a note saying she might be a little late from work.
Okay, Alderperson Erickson.
Here.
And Stevenson.
Here.
All right. There's a quorum present. 8 members are present.
There's 7 members present.
I'm sorry, 7 members present. There's a quorum. Next item of business, there is no mayor's appointments tonight. The third item of business is approval of the council proceedings of February 3rd, 2021 regular session. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
There's a motion by Lundrum, seconded by Tammy Erickson.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion, corrections, additions, or comments? Seeing none, is there any objection to unanimous consent to accept the council proceedings of February 3rd, 2021? Hearing no objection, that's so ordered. Tonight we have a public hearing. Item number 4 is a public hearing on the installation of sanitary sewer laterals for properties served by sanitary sewers on Fairview Avenue, Congress to South Park, Isabella Street, Monroe to Sherry, Lawton Boulevard, Congress to South Park, Marathon Avenue, Bell to Peckham, Olive Street, Commercial to Higgins, and Washington Avenue, Commercial to Walnut. So I will declare the public hearing open at this time. If there's anyone who's online who would like to ask a question or make a statement with regards to the installation of these sanitary sewer laterals, the public hearing is now open. Is there anyone on the computer who would like to ask a question or make a statement? We ask you give your name and your address so we have it for the record.
Or if you're on the phone, we do have a few callers.
Yeah, or if you're on the phone. So if you're online or on the phone and are here for the public hearing and would like to speak, now's the time. The public hearing's open. Is there anyone who'd like to speak to the council regarding this public hearing on the installation of sanitary sewer laterals. All right, seeing
Yes.
no one, go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. My name is Nadine Tarabishi. I live at 2264 Marathon Avenue. And I have some confusion when I read the packet that we were sent. So I guess, I don't know if I'm behind or if other people know about it, but I didn't know if there's somebody that we can call to speak with about what, what is happening, or if this is the place to kind of get a better understanding.
You can, I'll just interrupt you, but you should have got a letter. There should have been a phone number on there if you had questions, but what your questions our Director of Public Works is on. So why don't you ask your questions, and then when we close the public hearing, we'll answer your questions for you.
Okay. So the first thing, if I'm understanding correctly, is we may or may not have a situation where we need to actually have, replace the sewer lateral, which may cost $5,000 to $6,000. My understanding, if I'm reading it correctly, is that it's only if it's clay or something like that. So that was my first question. If this is everybody or if it's just some homeowners. My second thing is, if I'm understanding, and the drawing indicates that this would be quite the undertaking. The pink sheet indicates, well, if we cause damage, you're responsible for the landscaping, you're responsible to redo your driveway and all this. I guess I've never heard of, if somebody else causes damage, that the other person has to pay for it. So I guess when I look at all this, I think this is going to cost each homeowner like 10 grand, and I don't know if I'm just overreacting. So that's what I'm interested in finding out.
Can you give your name and address, please?
Yes, Nadine Tarabishi, 2264 Marathon Avenue.
Okay, thank you. We will answer your questions at the end of the public hearing, and then we'll also, if you want to expound on it, we'll allow that too, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else, either on the telephone line or on the computer, who'd like to ask the council a question? All right, if not, we have two people in the council chambers, so state your name and go ahead and ask your question.
Name is Robert Belkey, 226 Stanley Street, on the corner of Marathon and Stanley. I did not totally understand when these papers were supposed to be sent in. That was my question as to, and as far as how do we know if the lateral needs to be replaced or not? If they're not going to know until they start digging.
And your lateral faces Stanley
Marathon.
Street?
No,
Oh, your lateral faces Marathon,
Marathon.
okay. All right, Jerry, you got them? Questions?
Yes, I got them.
Any other questions you can think of right now? Okay. And what was your address again?
226 Stanley Street.
226 Stanley Street. All right, is there anyone else who would like to address the council during the public hearing portion? We'll probably, because of the circumstances, we'll be a little open to allowing them to speak again if they have other questions. So then we will close the public hearing on this, and there is no committee report. Is it the council's okay that we just, Adam, can we just address these right now?
If the chair, if you decide that that's what you would like to do, yes.
Yeah, I think I would like to do that. So we'll, mayor council consideration, yeah, that's public forum, but I think it's important for them to get their answers. So go ahead, Jerry.
Okay, I'll address the first caller first. Whether or not the lateral needs to be replaced, as we have in the letter, depends on the type of material that it's made of. What we find out on Marathon Avenue is that the vast majority of them are cast iron sewer laterals. So they will need to be replaced. Now, I would suggest that you can contact one of our engineers. I'll give you a phone number to call, and they can walk you through from the televising that's been done on that sanitary sewer main, ID your lateral, and we can get a better idea what material it is for your specific address. But I'd say, I would assume going in that your lateral needs to be replaced. The method of replacement, to your second question, we will open cut in the roadway to replace the lateral in the roadway. And then once we get in the terrace area, the predominant method of replacement is called pipe bursting. And we have a little video on the Public Works site that can show you how that process works. But essentially, they cut a hole in the basement floor where they can tie into the existing lateral, and then they pull the new lateral through the old pipe, and they break the old pipe as they go, and then they make that connection out in the area by the sidewalk. So it's all underground. There's no landscaping or ground disturbance between the sidewalk and the house. It's really a very clean operation from what we've had to do previously with just open cutting them. So the number I'm going to suggest that you call is our Public Works office, and then one of our engineers can talk with you about the steps that are involved and what your lateral actually is. So the number there for our office is 920-886-6240. And we're here every day of the week, so call anytime.
Jerry, the first lady suggested that this could cost them $10,000. That's way over what the normal cost is, right?
What we estimate for the full replacement cost is about $6,000 this year, and that's getting shared 50-50 with the sanitary sewer utility. So the assessment rate per unit is $3,000 to the property owner, and that special assessment is payable over 5 years upon billing. The second caller from Stanley Street, again, I would suggest the same thing, that you contact our office and talk to one of our engineers, and we can take a look at what the televising shows us for the lateral material at your property. But again, I would assume that it is still the old cast iron lateral that was installed originally. The papers for the water service and for the sanitary sewer lateral that were in your packet, if you could get those to us as soon as possible. We don't recall what the date was that we were requesting them by, but I think it was like March 1st or something like that. So yeah, the sooner you can get those into us, the better, and we can get everything lined up through the contract.
But they need to speak to the engineer first, right, to find out, but chances are they have.
Yeah, I'd start with calling our office, and we'll line you up with an engineer to talk to on it.
Okay, either one of you have more questions?
Yes, one more clarification. Thank you so much for that information. So I understand that, we're estimating $6,000, so, 50/50, 3,000. What about, there is that second part, right? That in the letter, the 800 to 1,200, that's separate from that, right? Or is that part of the 3,000?
That's separate from that. That's related to the water service. We
And
have
that's
oh, go ahead.
And that's 100% for the homeowner to pay?
The homeowner side of the water service, the utility will take care of the cost for the service from the main to the shut off in the terrace, the curb stop. But then from that point to the house is the homeowner's responsibility. That's their side for the cost.
Okay, so possibly 4,200 then total for the homeowner.
That's right.
Okay.
So the mayor saved you $6,000, right? That in 10 minutes. So, okay. All right. Do you have any other further questions? You understand? You're gonna call and then determine what you have, and then you guys can make the decision and get that in. There's still time.
Okay.
You have to have it in by the 8th.
Okay. Anyone else have any other questions for Jerry? Okay, we want you to feel comfortable and not have any questions. So make sure you call the engineers tomorrow or whatever, and they'll be able to walk you right through this, okay? All right. Hang it. There you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
I apologize, yeah. So we will move on into the public. Are there any other questions regarding the public hearing? Anything from any alderman or anything? If not, we'll move on to the public forum. Public forum is an opportunity for people to speak to the council on any topic that they would like. We ask that you state your name and address, and you can talk to us on any topic. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to us on the public forum?
Yes.
Go ahead.
My name is Anthony Ugaretz, 626 Fairview Avenue.
Welcome.
Thank you. In reading the minutes from the previous meeting on the 3rd, I noticed a lot of comments in a presentation regarding HR 763 and a presentation by the Citizens Climate Lobby, which I was unfamiliar with until just today. I was wondering if that presentation is available. Is there a recorded record of that a person could, or a transcript of, that a person could have access to?
I believe she sent that to all of us, or did she send it to the council? Stephanie, did you get it?
I don't have a copy of her PowerPoint. However, her actual presentation is a recorded part of our public meeting. So you can view the entire presentation on our city website if you go to the agendas and minutes portion and find that meeting, the February 3rd meeting for the Common Council.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. If you have any problems, feel free to call the clerk's office and they'll help guide you there to get that if you have any problem finding it, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here who would like to address the council on anything on the public forum?
So Dean, I would just like to take a minute. We hired a new legal assistant. She is on the meeting tonight. Her name is Amanda Peterson. I wanted to take a second and introduce her to all of you in the council. Department heads, I think except for Chris, have all met her already. She's great. She started Monday. We turned in our brief today on Lakeshore and she, edited it and was a star. So I'm very excited to have her in Dulles. So yeah, I just wanted to take a second to introduce her to all of you. If you have any questions of the legal department, she's going to be a great resource. So the city of Neenah is very lucky to have her.
Thank you. Amanda, would you like to say hello and tell people a little bit about how you got here and what you're
Oh,
looking
sure.
forward to?
Hi. Hi, I'm happy to be here. I'm really excited to get started this week. My background is primarily in customer service and also in document editing and proofreading. So I'm excited to put to use those skills and learn a whole bunch of new ones. So I hope I'll be a good resource.
Thank you. Well, welcome. She comes to us from Jewelers Mutual, her last job, and proofreading. I will utilize you often.
Mayor,
Yes.
well, first of all, welcome Amanda on behalf of the council. Can we get her Amanda, what's your last name?
My last name is Peterson, all E's.
Oh, please, very good. Well, welcome aboard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Anyone else in the public forum? If not, I will close the public forum. Any council member have anything with regards to what they heard in the public forum? If not,
Mayor,
we will
Mayor,
move on to the.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
Mayor, I think Mr. Krieger might want to speak, but I'm not sure. He unmuted himself at the last minute.
Yes, I do have something to comment.
Good.
My name is Scott Kruger. I live at 1140 West Cecil Street. My issue is the amount of vehicles that speed up and down the street, not only on the one I live on, but I see it throughout the city, as well as lack of people stopping at stop signs. I live at the intersection of Cecil and Babcock, and people rarely stop at the stop signs, treating them more like a yield sign. Some don't even attempt to slow down. They just blow right through them. And again, this is something I see throughout the city. It bothers me a great deal. I spoke to Chief Aaron Olson about this issue. He told me at that time that he doesn't have the manpower to patrol traffic. His officers are busy with other items.
Anything else?
I'm just wondering, what can we do to address this issue? I mean, we've had speed signs set up on my street. I'm guessing that neighbors down the street complained they were down the street with speed signs in the past. I've seen them in other parts of the town. What are we doing to address this?
Chief, do you have any comment? Otherwise, I will say this, Steve, I get a lot of these complaints and I address them with the Assistant Chief Bernice. The patrols are then informed that we've had numerous calls about specific areas, about specific streets. I do kind of, I see cops taking radar all the time, all over the city. I, for one, put on the most miles of anyone probably in this community, in the city, because I drive the community every week. I see officers taking radar, doing traffic patrol. I've seen them at the corner of Babcock and Cecil, and I've asked for them to be there. And so they've been there at different times of the day to watch the traffic right outside your window, your corner, because I do get a lot of calls about that particular intersection and people don't slow down as they're cutting through to go to the high school and that. There's only so many cops, and we can we can put more cops on, but then people's property taxes will be impacted. And those that live in apartments and duplexes, their rents are going to be impacted because, you know, there could be a correlation. If taxes go up, people are going to pay more in taxes, they're going to pay more in rent. So, you know, the chief and I have talked a lot about this, about the need to do more traffic enforcement and speed enforcement. You know, the council makes a decision. We make a decision every year on the number of officers that we're going to have, sworn patrol officers in the community. Every department will say if they need more personnel. Public Works has less people than they did in 1973, and yet we have more miles of roads to do, and garbage to pick up, and homes to pick up. So we're trying our best to balance providing good quality service and people's ability to pay. I don't disagree with your premise. The world is changing. People are in a hurry. People aren't slowing down. People are inconsiderate when they're driving sometimes. And we write tickets because we have our own municipal court, and people are brought in each and every month for speeding, for other violations, like going through a stop, failure to yield, going through a stop sign, those types of things. But no matter what we do, we're not going to catch them all. And but we sure do. I know I've asked that the speed patrol sign be put on your block once or twice, and I know it has been. But without sitting someone out there all the time to monitor that street, I don't know how else we're going to catch them. So, Chief, you have anything you can add?
Yeah, our officers are doing the best they can between calls for service and reports and investigations. And we have a board in our briefing room that highlights all the areas in the city where they need to be, where we get the most complaints. So we're trying to get them in the right spots at the right time. We had a mathematician figure it out for us that based on how many people are in the city, how many intersections we have, how many feet of street we have an 8% chance of getting one single car that's doing a violation at any given time based on calls for service and everything. And we have that formula that we're going to be providing the council soon. So our officers are trying to do their best with you know, the amount of officers we have on at a time with the calls for service. So we're trying to keep up as best as we can.
Steve, you have any comments?
You mentioned that there are 4 officers on per shift.
3 to 4 plus a supervisor.
I don't remember if we talked about how that number was arrived at, that's enough for a city the size of Neenah.
I don't know if we specifically talked about how I mean, that's long before I came here, but that's the number that we are provided. And between investigators and command staff and patrol, the amount of patrol officers, every single shift is minimum of 3 and sometimes 4 plus a supervisor.
So the committee of jurisdiction, Steve, is the Public Works Committee, Public Services and Safety Committee. They get monthly reports from the chief on number of tickets, number of accidents, things like that. At one point, because I was getting quite a few neighbor complaints about Babcock and Cecil, I asked them, and I had James Martin, our traffic engineer, look at accidents at that intersection where you live. There was, I believe, 1 accident in the last 5 years, and that was a diabetic that went through the stop sign and then hit a parked car on Babcock, I believe. But that was due to a diabetic reaction. And all the neighbors said it was because they blew the stop sign. So I just want to tell you that one kind of doesn't count. So, but there have been I believe maybe it was 2, and I don't have my notes with me. It might have been 2 in 5 years, but there's been a lot of close calls. I can guarantee you that from what people have told me. And you live right there, so you probably see it firsthand.
One of them was an accident with my wife's car. I don't know if it's the one you're speaking of, the diabetic, but regardless, I guess that, you know, it's just heartening to see, like you said, people are in such a hurry. People are so distracted. I just wish we could do more to make change in that area.
Well, we appreciate it. We will talk about it again at budget time. I know the chief has talked to me. They're going to come forward with a presentation. There are national standards or recommendations on how many police officers per 1,000 population. So we try to be as close to that as we can. I think we're a little bit low right now, is what the chief tells me. So the council will have a decision to make at budget time, but nothing's free. And, you know, we're limited by the state legislature, and I'm not trying to push blame or point fingers, but on how much our levy can grow. But it's all about priorities. So you bringing this to our attention. I know I saw that you had something on social media. You know, it garnered some discussion, but not much. But everyone talks to me about it, and I think they've talked to other aldermen about it, so we're aware of it, and we're going to do the best we can, like the chief says, and I can guarantee you that they are taking radar. I can tell you the spots where they usually sit, and they all are instructed by their shift commanders on what areas of the city I'm getting complaints, hearing complaints from, and what the chief is hearing complaints from. So we try to deploy them to areas of the city where we need them, but it's like a needle in a haystack. Would we get more if we had more officers deployed? Possibly. And you know, just seeing an officer, I think many times is a deterrent, and it slows down people. But a lot of it, I believe, is just people are not paying attention. They're on their cell phone. They're in a hurry to get to work and those types of things. So you bringing it to our attention, I think, I appreciate. And the fact that you're willing to appear tonight tells me that you're genuinely concerned about this, and we'll be more talks about it later, okay?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, sir. Anyone else? Anyone else like to say anything with regards to this or any other thing? Alderman Lundgren, go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Kruger, this is Alderman Carrie Lundgren. Just one suggestion that I've done for some people that have called me is the police have a speed sign, but it's smaller. It's on a battery, and it's like 24 hours. It doesn't last very long, so they have to keep taking it back and charging it and bringing it back. We do have in cold storage a bigger message board that Public Works uses, our traffic engineer uses, and it's more like a smart one, and it's real big. So when that comes out of cold storage, I'll be asking for that one in a particular place that I need to have monitored. So if you want, you can call me, and I can try to arrange to have that wherever you want it to, if it's not being taken up by some other Public Works situation.
Thank you.
I've had that on our street in the past, but hey, you know, bring it over again another time and raise that awareness, I guess. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else, then we'll close the public. Todd, go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering if we close the public forum or if we're in the council response.
Sure. We'll close the public forum. Go ahead.
Okay, well, just, you know, the topic, I mean, every council member gets, as the mayor indicated, gets requests weekly about somebody they saw speeding, And the answers that we give that the mayor gave tonight are fair, they're legitimate. Expenditure restraints, the state legislature limits the amount of levy that we can increase. So the police department is challenged with, living within the levy limits that the council gives to them. And then the other factors that play into this is police department has asked for additional resources above and beyond simple patrol with computer crimes and sex crimes and child enticement. And so, we have to balance this. Do we want resources doing this, and how do we make this balance? So it's simple to say, we should go from 4 officers to 5, but when you get into the nuts and bolts of managing resources based on the state legislature's limit to the amount of money that we can raise, it becomes, I think, exponentially worse than how the mayor described it earlier, because there's just a lot of dynamics to it. And every council member hears it every week. Every time we go to the grocery store, we hear about someone blew a stop sign in my street, and unfortunately that's going to happen, and we do the best we can to stop it. And I think in the last 8 years we've become much more proactive in our attempts to address those issues. But continue to tell us where they're occurring so that we can target those spots appropriately.
Thank you, Council President Stevenson. Anyone else? All right. Thank you for attending tonight's meeting. Item number 9 is reports of standing committees, a regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of February 9th, 2021. Chairman Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. For reporting out from the February 9th meeting, committee recommends council approve the purchase of 2 2021 Ford Police Utility Vehicles with 2021 Capital Improvement Program budget funds in the amount of $94,867.82, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Bates. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Lang. Discussion on this item. Seeing no one, all in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no as your name is called by the clerk.
Alderperson Bates,
Aye.
Lang,
Aye.
Lundrum,
Aye.
Borchert,
Aye.
Steele,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Stevenson,
Aye.
and Boyette.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That motion carries. Go ahead.
I just real quick want to acknowledge Adam for his work that he continues to do with our fleet. He saves the city a lot of money. I know nothing about vehicles, zero. I know how to drive them, and that's it. So having Adam to help Tom and Jeff and I is outstanding, and he makes our job easier, and he definitely saves the city money. So just in front of the city council, I want to thank Adam for his hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to serve. Thank you.
Yep, he did a good job presenting too. So the other night, so it says it helps a lot when we have to make these decisions. So thank you, Adam.
Item 2, the committee recommends council approve the purchase of a 2022 Snow Go WK snow blower from McQueen Equipment, Menominee Falls, Wisconsin, with 2021 Capital Improvement Program budget funds in an amount of $143,815, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Bates. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Seconded by, was that Erickson?
Jane.
Jane, discussion? Maybe you could just, Jerry, this isn't a regular snow blower. I did have a call today, someone who read the agenda and said, they can buy Aaron's snow blower for $5,000. So why is the city buying one for 143? So why don't we at least tell people what kind of snow blower this is?
Sure, Mayor. This is a snow blower that attaches to the front end of a front end loader. So a large bucket front end loader. It's a very large piece of equipment that we use downtown and on other streets where we haul snow. So we're pulling the snow banks down into the street, and then this snow blower comes by and hoists it up into a truck. So it's a fairly large unit.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Or we could buy 62 of the small ones with this money and, you know, and do it. But yeah, so I explained that to him, and then he felt better. So thank you for doing that. Anyone else?
Yeah, we can't afford to hire 62 people to run the snow blower.
Well, there's 8 aldermen and okay. There is a motion and a second. Yeah. All in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no as your name is called by the clerk.
Alderperson Lang,
Aye.
Lundrum,
Aye.
Borchert,
Aye.
Steele,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Stevenson,
Aye.
Foyette,
Aye.
and Bates.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That motion passes 8-0.
Committee recommends council approve the purchase of a 2022 single-axis chassis with Monroe plow/wing package and anti-ice system from Packer City International Trucks in the amount of $201,566, and the purchase of a 2022 tandem axle chassis with Monroe plow wing and brine salter package from Packer City International Trucks in the amount of $247,881 with 2021 capital improvement program budget funds of $420,000, and the remaining $29,447 to be funded by deferring the purchase of a 4-inch self-priming pump in the 2021 capital improvement budget, which would have cost $40,000. And I would so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Bates, seconded by Lang. Discussion or questions? Seeing no discussion, all in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no. As the clerk calls your name, please.
Alderperson Lundrum,
Aye.
Borchert,
Aye.
Steele,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Stevenson,
Aye.
Foyette,
Aye.
Bates,
Aye.
and Lang.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That motion passes 8-0.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Item number B is the regular Finance Personnel Committee meeting. That was, there's no report tonight. So item number 10, reports of special committees and liaisons, various special projects committees. Item number A is the regular Plan Commission. Alderman Lang. Oop. Alderman Lang.
Thank you, Mayor. This was postponed from the Common Council meeting of February 3rd. I'm not sure if you said that because you froze up for a second for me. Anyway, just this one item, Commission recommends Council approve the ordinance number 2021-02, amending section 26-178 of the Code of Ordinances relating to single-family attached dwellings. And the corrected ordinance is now in the packet, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lang. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second by Alderman Stevenson. Any discussion or questions? See no comments or questions. please vote aye as the clerk calls your name, or no as the clerk calls the name.
Alderperson Borchert,
Aye.
Steele,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Stevenson,
Aye.
Boyette,
Aye.
Bates,
Aye.
Lang,
Aye.
and Landrum.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That motion passes 8-0. Thank you very much. Thank you for your report. The regular plan commission, there was none. Item number C, the Board of Public Works meeting of February 9th, 2021. Vice Chairman Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. The minutes can be found on the city website. As an information item, the board approved change order number 2 for contract 6-20 sanitary sewer, storm sewer, and pavement construction on Millview Drive to Vinton Construction Incorporated, Two Rivers, for an additional 10-inch storm sewer and to adjust miscellaneous quantities to final contract in the amount of $4,964.33. For council action, the board recommends council approve the final payment for contract 6-20 sanitary sewer, storm sewer, and pavement construction Millview Drive to Vinton Construction Incorporated, Two Rivers, Wisconsin, in the amount of $57,711.66, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Bates. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second by Alderman Stevenson. Comments or questions or discussion on this item? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll. Vote aye if you favor it and vote no if not. Go ahead.
Alderperson Steele,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Stevenson,
Aye.
Boyette,
Aye.
Bates,
Aye.
Lang,
Aye.
Landrum,
Aye.
and Borchert.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. That motion passes 8-0. Next, we will move on to item number D, Community Development Authority. Is there any report tonight, Director Hayes?
I have nothing new to report this evening, Mayor.
Thank you. Library Board report, Alderperson Erickson. Now you
Met.
go ahead, Tammy. We can hear you now. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. The Neenah Library Board met today at 4 o'clock and voted to open the library on Monday, February 22nd. If you have any questions about this, I'm sure there will be information posted on the Neenah Public Library website. There will be masks will be required, and a limited number of people will be able to enter the library at one time, but the library will be open to patrons starting next Monday. So that's good news. And that concludes my report.
And Tammy, with that, I think it's important to tell people that drive-through pickup will continue. Is that correct?
That is correct. They also discussed the curbside service, and they said that that will continue for the foreseeable future. It's been a very popular service that the library provides, and many people like the curbside service. So if you are not comfortable going into the library, curbside service will continue, and you can get your materials that way as well.
Thank you. I just thought I think that's a very important connotation to make. And so if people feel comfortable going in, and but if they do not, we are still providing that service as a drive-through. So thank you very much. And I know the library board has spent a lot of time on this, and poring over the numbers. And Randy Fielak has looking to see, trends and criteria for reopening. Other libraries in the area are opening. Oshkosh is open, Appleton's open, and Oshkosh, I believe, opened this past Monday. Appleton's opening next week. Monash is opening. So I think they're all, with precautions, with precautions and masks and such. So just so folks know. All right, thank you, Alderperson Erickson. You also, is there any report from the Neenah Arts Council tonight?
Yes, the Neenah Arts Council met on Wednesday, February 10th. There are two projects that we are currently working on. We are joining with the Neenah Public Library on a community art project. There is a group that is in the planning stages of that, and some more information will be announced at a later date on that. And we are also working with the Neenah Joint School District art program. Their Youth Art Month in April. There will be an art show for, and we are working on some art projects with the students. And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. There are no petitions that I'm aware of. Any council directives anyone would like to address? Any unfinished business? Under unfinished business, I would just like to just mention that you all got a memo that after consultation with Alderman Stevenson about the schedule, potential schedule for coming back to in-person meetings here at the council. I've been monitoring what other communities are doing around the area, and slowly they are coming back. So we are looking at, and if you have a problem, feel free to contact either Alderman Stevenson or I. But we are looking at coming back March 17th. We will put in precautions. There will be masks required. There will be, we're going to try and set up every other seat like we did for one meeting. And we will have the system. Joe Wenninger assures me that the system is now in place where people, if someone feels the need to attend virtually, they can do that also. And through it, there's new equipment here that it will go through the system that we currently have through UW-Fox, and we won't have some of the problems that we've had in the past. So, and they've tested it and that, so I feel good about that. Under new business, item number 14, the process for filling the vacant Aldermatic seat. You all received a memo. Alderman Stevenson, would you like to start off the discussion?
Sure. City Attorney Westbrook sent out a memo with the agenda describing in general terms what our options are, consistent with the filling of the unfortunate passing of Alderperson Coons. I drafted a specific recommendation for filling the vacant District 3 seat. I would suggest that we invite interested candidates to submit applications to the city clerk's office before March 12th. Interested candidates would be invited to make a short presentation at the March 17th meeting. The Common Council will vote at the March 17th meeting. The first candidate to receive a majority number of votes of the Common Council will be declared the winner and will hold the seat until the regularly scheduled election for this seat in April of 2022. And I would make a motion to accept that procedure for filling the absent 3rd District seat.
I would second that.
Second.
Alderman Stevenson makes a motion. Alderman Borchert seconds it.
Boyette.
Okay, Alderman Boyette seconds it. Any discussion or questions on this? Case, Alderman Bates, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I wish, would Alderman Stevenson read that aloud, because people who would be watching this wouldn't have access to that particular process.
Sure, I'll read it again. Interested candidates must submit applications letters to the city clerk's office before March 12th. Interested candidates will be invited to make a short presentation, 5 minutes is what I included, at the March 17th City of Neenah Common Council meeting. The Common Council will vote at the March 17th council meeting. The first candidate to receive a majority number of votes of the Common Council will be declared winner of the seat and will hold that seat until the regularly scheduled election for this seat, which is in April of 2022.
Thank you for reiterating that. My question has to deal with the March 17th meeting, which corresponds with if we go back in person. Would these candidates be able to do it virtually as well?
I don't see why not, but we are going to be meeting in session, but yeah, I mean, I guess they would be, yes.
Thank you.
I would assume, given the recommendation that Mayor Crawford has presented us with, that virtual is an option, that the answer would be yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's the answer, yeah.
Sure. And I guess we'll do whatever we did last time, similar to get the word out, press release to the paper. I know they already had an article about an opening on this and also an opening on the Winnebago County Board. But Joni will utilize social media. I believe we posted on our website, and for the city, we might post it on Indeed. But I'll probably talk to the radio station and that too, to try and get the word out that we are accepting applications. Okay.
I will only add that having worked one of the two Aldermatic district polls yesterday, even though we didn't have a vast majority of people voting yesterday, there was what I would call significant discussion regarding the fact that there was an open seat in District 3. So I guess I say that only because I think those that live in District 3 seem to be aware of it, at least those that are voting in a primary that had one election or one seat being voted for.
Good. All right, thank you. So there's a motion and a second by Alderman Stevenson with outlining the process for filling the vacant Aldermatic seat in District 3. All in favor of that motion will vote aye. Any opposed will vote no as the clerk calls your name.
Alderperson Erickson.
Tammy, give a thumbs up or something. Okay.
Stevenson.
Aye.
I didn't hear Stephanie.
Okay.
Alderperson Stevenson.
Aye.
Boyette.
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Landrum.
Aye.
Borchert.
Aye.
And Steele.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. That motion passes 8-0. Thank you. Item number B is any announcements or questions that may legally come before the council. Is there anyone who has any announcements tonight? Alderman Erickson, go ahead. Alderman Erickson?
Yes, I had mentioned to you, Mayor, that possibly at that March 17th meeting, we could have the picture taken. Does that seem to work out?
We're still discussing it.
And
Yeah,
I'll need to schedule the photographer. I'm not sure if he's available that date.
We're going to look into it and see if everyone see what, I didn't include that, but if people are comfortable with masks on or whatever, we'll try and get it done. I mean, I know Jim Godleski would like to have one of this council, but if someone would prefer not to have the picture at that time and bring people back in later in the summer, please let me know. Okay, Tammy?
Sure.
All right, thank you. Anyone else with any announcements? I do just want to quickly, go ahead, Marge, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to have Director Kaiser just give a brief explanation of why the streets are kind of the way they are, where there is a layer of permafrost on many of the smaller streets, and when will it get to the point where that stuff can get scraped off?
Hopefully it's not permafrost. We're dealing with a whole different issue. No, we focused our plowing and salting efforts on our primary and secondary roads. We did salt and chip on the residential streets, the ones that have the layer right now. As temperatures go up, so we're supposed to be right around 20 for the next couple of days, and then early next week we're in the 30s. So we'll be getting underbelly trucks out to scrape and plows to scrape residential streets and clean things off as the temperatures warm. And as they come up again, the salt will work a little harder than what it's been able to do with the freezing temperatures that we've had the last 2 weeks.
My question also is, there have been years where we've had that layer of stuff and then the plow comes through and it kind of cracks it up and you get these almost like little icebergs that are just shattered all over. Is that something we're going to have going on this year again?
That certainly could happen with the layer that we have caked on there, that will have chunks of ice, more or less, that we're shoving off to the side. We saw that last week even with or earlier this week when we plowed some of the secondary roads that had that layer, but we had seen some melting, so we were able to peel off some of it, and again, you get that kind of that ice that's shoved off to the side rather than, loose snow like you'd get with a regular plowing.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for the question. Thanks, Jerry, for that. I will tell you that we are not unique in this issue right now. I listened to Mayor Wolford last week on WHBY talk about it. Appleton, Kaukauna, they're two expressing, frustration over the condition of the side streets. I mean, our main drags and that are down to the concrete, and you can travel anywhere in this city. Some of the side streets, this is totally unusual, having this deep freeze. The salt, Greg tells me, didn't really have an impact on it. By the time the plows got out, it had all been packed down by traffic on the side streets. And so we are where we are, and I've fielded a fair number of calls, and after I talk to them, they're pretty better. Once again, there's been a few fender benders, the police tell me, and I'm aware of with my radio, where people are sliding into people at intersections. But people have to slow down too. I mean, you're driving too fast for conditions, but I myself found myself really, really close to, having a little fender bender, but I didn't. So we're going to do better. We're going to continue to get better and learn. And, Greg is working well with the brine. I can tell you the drivers are very, they're proud of what they do. They want to do a good job. They want to get out there and make sure that everyone's streets are safe and plowed. The last two snowstorms we had were both under 2 inches. And so, I don't know. It's, I've gotten phone calls in previous years from someone saying, how come the snow plows are out? There's only 2 inches of snow, so, and then I got calls this week from, how come the plows woke me up at 3 a.m.? What are they doing out at 3 a.m.? So I don't know. There's times these guys just can't win, no matter which way they go on this, but overall, they do a heck of a good job for us. We kind of maybe missed the mark on the snowstorm 2 weeks ago, and that Sunday snowstorm, and we got, we're left with the side streets. I've been hearing from a lot of courts that, they're the last one plowed. And yeah, courts are the last one plowed. I don't know any way around that. And they all assure me that my street's probably the first plowed. I can tell you mine was plowed at 5:30 in the morning, later than a lot of other people's streets. So there's no, I think I heard someone say there's no exact science to plowing, and Winnebago County had something on their website saying similar tone that, that we apologize, we're going to get better, but this was kind of a highly unusual snow and ice, and the way that it froze, and now the deep temperatures. And I've noticed, I drive around the entire city, and side streets and everything, it is now melting. It's melting pretty good the last 2 days, and I presume it's going to continue to melt. So overall, I think they're doing a pretty darn good job. Anyone else have any questions or comments? If not, Tammy, go ahead. Alderman Erickson.
Yes, I have a question for Director Kaiser. The question that I get the most is, why is one half of the street plowed and the other half isn't? Why is one side of the street plowed and the other half isn't? I think that's a hard concept for a lot of residents. If you drive on Bell Street, there's part of Bell Street that's perfectly cleared off, and then on the other end of it, it's not plowed, and then half of the one side is plowed and they don't understand, and I don't understand how that happens.
Well, I'd probably need Greg to give you a fuller explanation, but it could relate to when they're seeing that and the routing that the trucks are actually using, because they don't necessarily go down a block and turn around and do the other side of the street on that same block. They're working with a route to try and minimize the amount of backing that they have to do. So it can be a little bit of time before they get to the other part of the street. But overall, they should be covering both sides of the street. But if that isn't happening by the time they're done, then there's been an issue with how that plowing's been done. So if you've got some specific instances, let me know, and I'll talk to Superintendent Radke about them.
Well, Marathon, for one example, Marathon going into Forest Manor the other day was not plowed. Marathon going to the police station was plowed. So all of a sudden it just stopped, and it's hard for, I think, residents to understand how can one street be so drastically different.
I missed the first section of Marathon that you said that wasn't plowed.
Marathon going into Forest Manor,
Okay.
and then Marathon going to the police station was plowed, Marathon to the other side. And maybe March, you noticed that as well. It was not plowed. It was very at all.
Yeah, we have the streets classified more or less in the primary and secondary routes. So if a street, even though it's on the same street like Marathon, if it hits a break point, say at Bell Street or at possibly even Parkwood, where it's considered lesser importance as you go south, then that no longer falls into the primary or secondary route. So they wouldn't be doing the more intensive plowing or salting on that section. So that could explain Marathon. I know we have a similar thing on Pendleton Road over on the west side that I'm a little more familiar with. The section from Breezewood Lane down to Nature Trail Drive is on a secondary route, but from Nature Trail to G is not considered a secondary route. So that section north of Nature Trail gets covered pretty well, but south of Nature Trail, it's doesn't see quite as much effort put on. So it really kind of depends on the classification for those routes and how they fit in with the overall routing for the trucks in the area.
Okay.
Alderman Boyette?
Thank you, Mayor. Jerry, I just wanted to kind of give you a little heads up on what I've been dealing with. Of course, I live across the street from Menasha, and the 2-inch snowfall that we had, or less than, Menasha plows were out during the fall of the snow, and they are down to concrete on Nicolay, and we are not. And I listen to people, well, why is Menasha got concrete and we don't? And what did they do differently? And I don't have answers for folks. I just, it's not a science. I don't know. I don't make those calls. I'll certainly, make people aware that you're not happy. For the most part, yes, they're complaints, but also concerns about safety. We have one stop sign on Nicolay, and I think it's on 9th, but I mean, there's a dozen streets that feed into that. So we have one stop sign, and people go like the wind on Nicolay, and we've addressed that before with temporary speed bumps and monitoring the speed with the other devices that the police department has. There's nothing that we can do, I guess, short of putting in speed bumps on Nicolay to slow traffic down. But they don't go slow in this winter either, and when we don't have concrete and the other side does, I listen to that. So I just wanted to make you aware that it's extremely hard to live across the street from Menasha, and they're down to concrete and we're not, and I don't have answers for people. I just want to portray that to you and your department, and I don't know what the fix is. I'm not a professional. That's not my, snow plowing is not my deal, but it's unsafe out here, and our neighbors did it. So what did we not do, or what did they do better, or has anybody looked into that? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I know Superintendent Radke's been in touch with their superintendent as far as timing on when they hit the roads, what level of salt they're distributing on the roads, at what time. So as the mayor said, we're constantly learning as these storms roll through, and we're dealing with different weather conditions before and after as to what the best approach is on some of these.
I read the memo that went out today that, now that the weather's going to warm up, we're going to get out there and really work hard at it. And it's kind of ironic because just before I sat down to read that, the sun was out and it felt a little warmer. And I thought, well, it would be a perfect time to have a plow come out now and try to scrape some of this up off the ground. And then I seen the memo and it's like, oh, in a few days.
The plows, the plows are out every day scraping. There's 4 guys. 4 guys go out at noon or 1 o'clock and scrape. They've been out Monday, they've been out Tuesday, and they've been out Wednesday.
Maybe the next one they could come down our neighborhood. Just asking. Thank you.
Alderman Borchert.
Just a quick question, Jerry. I know this sounds like a weird question, but how many snowfalls do you budget for each year on average? So, I mean, is there kind of like a method? So I would imagine there's overtime and there's expense to the city. In your budget, what do you kind of usually factor in? How many times do you think that the plows come out each winter?
Well, when I'm setting my budget, I'm really not working off an estimated number of events. I'm kind of looking at what our rolling average has been over the last 5-6 years, and with an understanding of some of the severities, how some winters are lighter, like last winter was fairly light, but like a couple years ago we had a pretty severe winter where we were out, it seemed, every weekend with dealing with a 3 or 4 inch snowfall. So there's a lot of fluctuation, both in the number of events and in the severity of the events. So I really use more of a rolling average for establishing my budget.
Okay, thank you.
And Alderman Stevenson, go ahead.
Yeah, I've listened to conversations about snow plowing and the quality of Neenah snow plowing for 30 plus years. And the person that indicated, that referenced the fact that it's not an exact science might have been me. And we run the risk when we do a great job, when we get everything right, and our streets look great, we probably take too much pride and sell that too much, because there's going to be a time when we don't get it right. There's so many variables. The amount of salt that we choose, the temperature of the day, the temperature before the event, the temperature after the event. Is it the weekend? Is it a weekday? Is the snowfall starting on a weekend and ending on a weekday, or starting on a weekday and ending on a weekend, where Greg and Jerry are being challenged to manage dollars as well as a volume of salt, and the temperature, 3 days before when we put the brine down, and what type of street is that street? I mean, there are so many variables that Jerry and Greg have to deal with, and most of the time they get it right, and sometimes they get it wrong, and sometimes Menashe gets it right, and sometimes Menashe gets it wrong. It isn't an exact science, so we should probably never pat ourselves on the back too much when we do a great job, because we're not going to do a great job every time, and we're going to make the wrong decision, and they're going to hold off by bringing equipment out, and something else happens that they didn't anticipate, like the temperature froze quicker than we thought, and we couldn't get our guys on regular time before we thought we could, and they're and in saving overtime. It isn't an exact science, and I, what, I've told people that for 30 years now, and people get it. If you tell people that these are the issues, I haven't had one person, I don't think, maybe one, maybe two, that has taken it to the next level. They understand that there are variables that occur when you make these kinds of decisions. And if it wasn't easy science, anybody could do it, and everyone could do it. And you can't, because Jerry, when the council goes in November and we look at the snowplow budget and we say, geez, it wasn't that bad winter. Well, no, but we spent a lot of money because we got a lot of complaints, and we made sure the number of trucks that we had, and Jerry's got a lot of trucks. How many trucks do you bring in? How many do you call out? We used to use graders. I'm going on and on and on. It's an evolving process, and you're not going to get it right 100% of the time. And I think personally, Jerry and Greg do a great job, and when they don't do a great job, the key is they recognize it and they apologize and say, you know what, we're working on it. We're trying to do a better job. So my personal take is great job, and I know you're working on it.
Anyone else? Okay. Anyone else on any other subject? If not, is there a motion on item number C, please?
I'll move into closed session.
Second.
Alderman Lenram moves makes a motion. There's a second to move into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, paren 1, paren E, for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require the closed session to discuss bargaining strategy related to future residential development. And we will come out of that just to adjourn then, I believe, in open. So go ahead, Alderman Stevenson.
So are we staying here? I didn't check. Do we need to re-log in, or?
No, we're staying here, and I believe Stephanie will be able to kick off Caller
Yep,
two,
everyone who
Jen.
isn't on the council or staff will have to leave, and then I'll lock the meeting.
Very good. Thank you.
All right.
And just to be
John, was
clear, we
that your
can
question? Oh, that was his question.
we can adjourn from closed session. We don't need to go back into open to adjourn, just so you know. And we actually can't go back into open because it was not noticed as such. So we have to adjourn from closed session, just so you're aware.
Okay, good. So there's a motion and a second to go into closed session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Is there
Aye.
any opposed?
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Hearing no opposed, that's so ordered. We are now in closed session.
Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin-Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.